send one officer, next time they send a different officer. So that continuity is missing. You know, officers also need to learn and understand each other in the way they are supposed to be disposing of these matters. So we are requesting, especially the anti-counterfeit agency, the presence in the region is minimal. Yeah, it's minimal. I don't know, you may be having your own challenges with regard to the human resource issues, but this is a request, and I think it's a matter that was discussed when we had the meeting in Nyeri, and if it is properly addressed, I think we will be good to go in addressing this matter. Another case that was also cited in the region, you find our agencies, the KEBS, KRA, and anti-counterfeit. Sometimes they don't agree. Yeah. KRA says it's okay, KEBS says it's okay, anti-counterfeit says no, this is counterfeited product. This suspect must proceed to court. I think in the spirit of multi-agency, we should be able to address such issues when they unfold. Lastly, I think it's a matter of logistics that requires to be addressed. This matter cannot effectively be addressed if we don't have adequate budgetary support. We also need equipment. I want to thank the CEO Nakada. You provided the drone yesterday, and the results are overwhelming. Because some of the terrains that we go through are very challenging. Yeah, very, very challenging. But with certain equipments like the drone, we are able to monitor, and we are able to come up with real-time information that will assist us in addressing this problem adequately. I think on that note, I want to stop there, and I hope that the discussions are going to be positive at the end of it all. We shall make Central Kenya once again the backbone of producing the highest percentage in terms of contributing to the GDP of this country. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, that's great stuff coming out, and I hope you've been finding it useful, particularly our colleagues from prosecution. This was just to bring you to choose, but I think we are now going to narrow down after we have a cup of tea, which we shall go and do just after this. No, but this is the one from prosecution, which we want after tea. Yeah, so just because this is now the crux of the matter, after having narrowed in on all those things, it was now coming to the prosecution and the rest of how we deal with these cases. So really, I think to crown it, we shall have Victor Mule after the tea break. Yes? You wanted to do an introduction yourself first? Wouldn't you guys, ama mumeshiba chai asubuhi? Was it a good breakfast? You feel it can still sustain you? Yeah, well, I was just trying to buy time there so that even when the DP comes, at least he finds us now narrowing in on this issue. So if you wanted to speak before Mule, then I can still give you that chance. You address a few issues, but then now, when the DP comes, he finds us having maybe taken a quick cup of tea, and then Mule now making that presentation. So Dorcas, maybe you can come on behalf of the DPP and make some remarks. Thank you very much.
Good morning again. I'm not speaking on behalf of the DPP because I'm informed that he's already on his way. And I'm sure that when he comes, he will have something to say to us, so he will address us when he comes. But I want to apologize on his behalf because he had to attend an urgent meeting this morning, but he's joining us after this. So I want to speak on behalf of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and I think you have seen that they've come in numbers. All officers who manage county offices, and some regions are here because they also are concerned about these matters. So we were told this morning that we are not here to blame each other, but I think it's also my responsibility to introduce my office and support some of their actions or explain why you should understand them and work together with them. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution is established under Article 157 of the Constitution. Under that article, the Director of Public Prosecutions has only one power, which is not a function, and that is the power to direct the Inspector General to investigate any matter that comes by him in any other form, but only when it is warranted. But Article 157(6) provides that the Director of Public Prosecutions shall have power to exercise state powers of prosecutions. Those state powers of prosecutions are elongated in the ODPP Act that now explain how does he exercise state powers of prosecutions. In exercising state powers of prosecutions, one of the things that is expected to do is to set standards of prosecutions and also to formulate policy to assist in the exercise of prosecutorial powers. And these are the policies that he has come up with, and these are the policies that Mule is going to talk about that direct these prosecutors and myself when we are doing our work. And when prosecutors don't adhere to those policies, we also have our internal mechanisms on how we deal with those issues. Article 157(9) provides that the DPP shall exercise those powers in person or by officers subordinate to him, who include these public prosecutors. So in exercising those powers, how do they exercise them? I go back to 157(6), that the DPP shall have powers to exercise state powers of prosecutions, and may, kindly, it says may, which it does not say shall, may, institute criminal proceedings, may. 2, may take over, may terminate. That may gives a discretion. It does not say shall, may. His function is to exercise state powers of prosecution, and in doing that, he may institute. If you go to 157(10) provides that the Director of Public Prosecutions shall not be directed by anybody in exercising his powers. However, 157(11) provides that the Director of Public Prosecutions shall have regard to public interest, the interest of the administration of justice, and the need to prevent the abuse of the court process. Now, this one works together with the may. So when these prosecutors make decisions to charge or do not make decisions to charge, one of the things that Mr. Mule will talk about is what they consider. But one of the most important factors that they must consider is that it has to be in the public interest. Now, being in the public interest is subjective. Criminal law, public interest, and discretion are not scientific when it comes to criminal law. So you cannot tell a prosecutor to tell me whether this roll of bang is an offense or not. It depends on the circumstances. And we cannot say that law is impervious to our surrounding circumstances. It's impervious to what is going on today. Our previous speaker has already said today that we should be considering the principles. I think the police officers here know very well that policing can have an effect of systematic discrimination, just like prosecution, where you know the principles, you know the people who are behind these things, but they are never brought for prosecution. The same thing you also talk about that prosecutors don't, sometimes are not very serious with people who have money. So the principals who are behind these offenses, among all criminal justice agencies, they are known. If you go to a village and you ask, who are the women who brew changa here, everybody will tell you. If you tell them who are the people who bring counterfeits, they will tell you because they are known and they have money, but they are never arrested. Secondly, if you go all over Nairobi, in every corner there is a bar and winery where people buy alcohol. It is not a Nyeri problem, it is not a Kenya problem, it is a human problem and a generational problem. This malevolence can only be dealt with if we look at the core issue. Because today we are talking about people who are selling counterfeits, illegal brews. But I'm not hearing us saying, we also have people amongst us who overdrink. Legal, isn't it? But they overdrink. And why the law, some laws are created that are personal to you, things that you do to yourself but they are illegal, like overdrinking, or if you stay in your house and you are involved, let's say in pornography, somebody says, but this is me. Why are you coming after me? The reason is that we are protecting you, we are protecting the society and anybody else you will meet. So even that person who is overdrinking legal brew, but overdrinking and is affecting others, is creating a problem. If we say that the people who can afford can do whatever they want, because now we are talking about cheap and affordable alcohol. Can you imagine? Because we have agreed that it is acceptable. So we have to go for cheap and affordable. What about the people who are buying, maybe, for example, what is not cheap, what is affordable, what is legal, but they are the ones who are also influencing other people to now partake what is illegal because the others cannot afford. And what we are doing is actually going to be systematic discrimination. It is still policing and prosecuting people who do not have. Because it is the poor who go for illegal, who go for cheap, and they are the ones who are being arrested. And that is the public interest and the subjectiveness that the prosecutor has to use the lens of public interest to balance. So there are nuances in here, and nobody can deal with them alone. But if we find that prosecutors have done something which is not acceptable, then everybody is allowed to write to the Director of Public Prosecutions or come to the office and see us, because just like all other human beings, we have people who are. If we are asked in this room today, if we start with the police, supposing every policeman who is consuming illegal brew, buying or selling, is arrested and taken to court, ask me how many of us would remain. We have prosecutors here. If you ask them how many take illegal brew, maybe sell, ask me how many of us will be counted. So sometimes we have to be subjective, and I like what I think it was from Counterfeit. He said that our actions should also reflect our pursuit to protect the income. Did you say income generating, or a generation that is a productive generation of our society? Because otherwise, if you tell the must charge and take to court, then you do not know the effect that that action has on anybody else or on the society. Public interest includes the prosecutor saying, for example, in Kibera, you can get one charge sheet with 50 people, drunk and disorderly, or drinking after hours, one charge sheet. Makadara is the busiest court in East Africa. Policemen can come with one charge sheet with 30 people, such that even the court cannot call each one of them individually to take a plea. They take in groups. So in Makadara, you can have 300 pleas in a day. Supposing we were filling our jails with 300 people in a day, what would happen? So I'm asking all of us to just be reasonable and to be humane in what we are doing. The work of the prosecutor is to enforce the law as it is. A prosecutor is a custodian of the process to make sure that people who should go to court and be prosecuted are prosecuted. Those who are not supposed to go to court will not go to court, and Mr. Mule will explain that. At the same time, it is not the wish of these prosecutors. They are part of the society. They are also affected by these issues, either infected or affected. They are part of society, our children, our wives, our husbands. So we cannot look at them as if they are not sensitive to what is happening. It is affecting all of us. And I think it is our country, it is our society, and it is our generation. And finally, we talked about vessels that transport, I think, ethanol or release it or whatever. I think at an opportune time we have to look at, there are provisions now in POCAMLA, Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, which deal with instruments of crime. Anything which is an instrument of crime is forfeitable to the state. But you'll have to justify and prove to the state that it is an instrument of crime and it is tainted. And also, we also have to be more careful about online shopping. And also, not only shopping, but even online, shopping, and also food is now delivered in homes, isn't it? And some of these people who deliver service providers, they do not have open spaces. They do them in go-downs and everything, and nobody knows what is going on in there. So we just have to be a bit sensitive to technology. And also, we also have to be sensitive about laws that were created to protect also the accused person. Public interest is also what is in the interest of the accused person. For example, consuming illicit brew is also harmful to the consumer, isn't it? Why aren't we putting enough effort also to deal with the consumer? So I think there are issues on the table that we need to deal with that go beyond prosecution, that also really make this matter more complex, calling upon not only multi-agency, but multi-directional, multi-subject-oriented, so that we can have different lenses within which we deal with this. Thank you so much. I hope the DPP will address you.
Yeah, I think that was quite excellent. It's about 1:45. We can reconvene at 11:15. You just tickled a funny bone in me when you were making some of these remarks. We largely believe that Muslims don't drink, and particularly the Saudis.